All right, listen up. This is absolutely insane. Imagine you're just chilling on the subway, reading your favorite apocalypse web novel, and then BAM, the world of that novel becomes your reality, right there in your train car. And while everyone else is freaking out, our boy is just smiling. Why? Because he's the only person on Earth who actually read all 3,000 chapters of this web novel. For him, this apocalypse is basically an open book test. So it all starts with this flop of a web novel. Over 3,000 chapters, a whole decade of writing, and our boy, Kim Dokja, is its one and only reader. And on the very day he finishes the final chapter, something strange begins to happen. The apocalyptic scenes from a novel, the world-ending monsters, they start bleeding into reality. And while everyone else is panicking at this sudden disaster, our boy is the only one looking calm. They see an apocalypse, but he sees a familiar storyline. That's right. The novel he'd been reading alone for 10 years just became real. And now, he's the only person in the world who knows what happens next. Every battle, every crisis from the novel, he knows it all like the back of his hand. He even knows exactly what the actual protagonist of a novel is going to say in any given situation. In this world that's about to fall apart, he's no longer just a nameless reader. But let's rewind to right before it all went down. Staring at that final chapter, our boy is so nervous he can barely breathe. I mean, this is a decade of his life we're talking about. He's about to become the omniscient reader. Back to reality. Our guy, Kim Dokja, is just an average contract worker. His only hobby? Reading this obscure web novel on his subway commute. He complains that it's a masterpiece that no one reads, but he's also proud to be its only true fan. But on the very day he finishes the ending, a white, horned creature suddenly appears in the train car. Everyone freezes, but Dokja's mind is racing. No way. This is the scene from chapter 1. That's right, the story he'd been reading alone for 10 years had just become reality. Every impact, every explosion from a novel, he remembers them all with perfect clarity. The main character of the novel is now standing right in front of him, asking a question he already knows the answer to. In this crumbling world, Kim Dokja's status as a reader is about to become his greatest weapon. And the starting point for all of this is right there on his phone. Chapter 3149, the final episode of 3 Ways to Survive in a Ruined World. Welcome to the world of the omniscient reader. All right, let's get into it. So, right there on the subway, Dokja finishes the last chapter and gets the final episode notification. Suddenly, the train car lurches violently, and he snaps his head up in alarm. Before we go any further, let me introduce our boy properly. His name, Dokja, sounds like reader and also lonely person in Korean. Pretty fitting, right? He's 28, a contract worker, been single his whole life, and his only joy is reading novels on his commute home. He's completely absorbed in his phone when a voice pulls him out of it. He looks up, and, oh man, it's the super popular beauty from the HR department, Yu Sanga. Look at him, totally flustered in front of his crush. His ears are turning red, and he can barely string a sentence together. The social anxiety is real, folks. He's forcing a laugh while his inner monologue is going wild. No wonder all the guys at work are obsessed with her. She's even more stunning up close. Sanga gets curious and asks what he's reading. Thinking on his feet, Dokja says he's just learning Korean. Then he proceeds to dramatically recite the novel's apocalyptic opening. This, my friends, is what we call heavy foreshadowing. But for him, this novel is more than just a story. From getting bullied in middle school to failing entrance exams and his time in the military, it was his one constant companion through the darkest decade of his life. He thought this fictional world was his only comfort, but now even that was coming to an end. And the saddest part? This epic saga had an average view count of 1. He wanted to support the author, but he was flat broke. He tried recommending it to others, but they just laughed at him. Yeah, the world hasn't been too kind to our boy. Back on the subway, the conversation turns to work and things get awkward. Turns out, Sanga just got a permanent position last month, while Dokja's contract is about to expire. Ouch, talk about a tough comparison. It suddenly hits Dokja. His life isn't a work of fiction. There's no plot armor. He's not the protagonist. He's simply a reader. He mutters to himself, I have to live my own life, but Sanga overhears and gets totally inspired by it. This misunderstanding is just golden. But the shocks just keep on coming. He gets a direct message from the author of the novel. The author thanks him and says he has a gift for him. The author mentions the story is about to be monetized and sends him a gift as thanks. Our boy is thinking maybe it's a gift card. Little does he know this gift is about to turn his entire world upside down. He gets an email. He opens it, and it's a text file of the entire novel. And the monetization time? 7 p.m. Dokja checks his phone. It's 6:55 p.m. The countdown has begun. He tries to go back to the novel's page, but it's already been taken down. And right at that moment, the lights on the subway begin to flicker like crazy. The next second, with a deafening crash, the subway screeches to a halt. People are thrown everywhere, and panic erupts instantly. The car is in chaos, people are screaming, and the image of that white creature flashes in Doctor's mind. He tries to calm Senga down, telling himself it's just an accident, but deep down, he knows it's too late. The clock strikes 7 p.m. sharp. A bizarre announcement comes over the speakers, quickly replaced by piercing emergency sirens. A brilliant flash of light, and a mechanical voice rings out in everyone's minds. The free service of Planetary System 8612 has ended. The main scenario will now begin.